بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Lord, Ameen. We begin in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, and by sending peace and blessings, we ask Him to send peace and blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're very honored today to have with us really a legend in our community, in our American Muslim community. Imam Siraj Wahaj is a name that's known to many of us. We've actually had the good fortune of having us here at the center many times. In fact, you may not remember this, but he gave the very first khutbah ever in this building. So for those of us that remember the opening of this building in 2002 in Ramadan, Imam Siraj was the first khatib that we had at the main center. And so we're very honored that he could join us here today. This particular workshop that Qurtuba is putting on through the Adam Center is it's something that is very needed. I think many of us are active in the field of da'wah, whether we know it or not, whether it's in the workplace, in our schools, through our community organizations. And every so often, we need a refresher. We need to refocus ourselves because sometimes you're in the weeds, you're getting down into the nitty-gritty, and you forget about the big picture. I took this class with Imam Siraj 11 years ago at the Olive program in 2000, and it was life-changing and life-shaping for me personally. It really gave me a different perspective on da'wah in and of itself as a discourse, and specifically from the Quran. How does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about the da'wah? How does the Prophet go through that? And really putting in some of that. So we're very fortunate today to have somebody who's been not just a scholar, but an activist in that field. And can speak to you to the heart of personal experiences. So I encourage you, inshallah, throughout the course of the day, take advantage, take lots of notes, ask questions, and really engage, inshallah, with the Imam. I think all of you have a program. We will try and stick as closely as possible to that, including a break around 1:20 for Dhuhr and lunch. We will be providing pizza for all of we will have lunch here, inshallah, which will be pizza for the attendees. And what we're going to do is we're going to resume, inshallah, and I think it's 2:15 or 2:30 on the day, but hopefully we're going to try and stick to that schedule as best as possible over the course of the day. For those that are new to the Adam Center, the men's restroom is this way, and the women's restroom is that way, inshallah. And without any further ado, I'd like to turn over to my beloved Professor.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Our brothers and sisters, I'm very happy to be here again. This is one of my favorite messages in all of America. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do is travel around the country and listen to me talk about this message, this very progressive message full of life and light, a message full of youth that's working hard for us on the bottom. I begin with a dua that the Prophet made, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I believe in this dua. Allahumma inni a'udhuka min ilmin la yanfa'u. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from knowledge that doesn't benefit. Inshallah, we're going to be here today for a few hours. And I pray to Allah that it's going to be beneficial for you, inshallah, that you will gain from it. If I could give a title to this workshop, part of it would be the experience of an American da'wah. In addition to calling people to the way of Allah with wisdom, beautiful preaching. Why Imam Siraj? Part of it is my experience. Muawiyah said, La hakima illa tajriba. There's no real wisdom without experience. You're going to find out that a lot of the things that we're going to talk about directly from Quran, directly from Sunnah, and in addition, my own personal experience, inshallah. I want to try to accomplish a lot today. But I wanted to begin with you. And this is a workshop. You all know what a workshop is? A workshop doesn't mean Imam Siraj does all the work. A workshop is interactive. Many of you have seen me as a preacher. I'm not the teacher today. I'm the teacher. So inshallah, it's going to be interactive. We have about 30 people here today. Why did you come? What was your purpose? And the Prophet ﷺ said in the famous hadith, "Inna al-a'malu bin-niyat." Our deeds is based on our niyyah. So I'm asking you, I want you to raise your hand and say your name. And tell me why you came here today. What you hope to accomplish. Don't say I came to hear Imam Siraj. Don't say that. Tell me what you hope to accomplish today, inshallah. Yes. Say your name again. Atta? Hassan. Hassan. Why Hassan? Did you come? To learn about Islam. Okay. Why did you? Yes, ma'am.
Sadia. To living like, while you're living in America and we interact with like or other people of book, how do you explain Islam to them when they have questions?
How do you explain Islam to other people, especially the people of the book? You want to know so that you could yourself interact with them and to talk to them and better help them to understand Islam. Good. Why? Yes. Shahad.
I previously managed the Dawah books in this area.
Very good.
Get more involved.
Excellent. Already going down and manage the Dawah books. Want to get more. Good. Again? Adraf? Okay.
To acquire a wealth of knowledge to more help understand the dawah and better interact.
You want to do something. Because one of the things, my objective is that when you finish it, you want to do something. I want you to do something. Good. Anyone else? Yes.
Kashif, to gain a better understanding of Islam ourselves, so we can give that to other people around us. Sometimes we try to, portray an image of Islam or say Islam is this without really truly knowing and understanding how to portray that in ourselves, before portraying it to others.
Portraying Islam first to ourselves and then go on to others. Two more. Yes, ma'am. To do da'wah to the Muslims and the non-Muslims. Very good. Good. This.
My name is Nicholas.
Nicholas.
I'm here because my family is not Muslim. Most of the people I interact with on a daily basis are not Muslim, and I want to be able to effectively invite people to Islam.
Very good. My mother is not Muslim. Most of the people I interact with is not Muslim, and I want to very effectively know how to deal with them. All of those things that you said, inshallah, will be part of my objective. I'm going to put before you two statements about the beloved Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. And then I want you to look at them and try to understand the difference, because one of the things we're going to talk about in da'wah, the first thing we're going to talk about is the word da'wah. We're going to talk about the word da'wah. We're going to try to understand what does it mean, and then we're going to talk about later on how to do it. How to do it, that's the easy part, believe it or not. The more difficult part is what we're going to do now, some of the philosophical aspects of da'wah. Listen to the commandment of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muru awladukum bis-salat wa hum abna'u sab'i sinin. That means order your children to make salah when they are 7. Recently, I was with my grandson. He's 6 years old. Alhamdulillah, he's a Muslim. And we were about to make salah. And we asked him, Jamil, you going to make salah once? He said, no. I said, why? Because the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said, I don't have to make salah until I'm 7. And I'm only 6 years old. And you know what? I said nothing. What am I saying? He poked the Prophet on me. What am I going to say? So he sat there watching us make salah. Muru awladukum bis-salat. Order your children. From the word amara. Muru. Muru. Order your children bis-salat. Bis-salat. Whom abna'u sab'i sinin. When they're 7 years old. That's what the Prophet said, peace and blessing be upon him. Compare these words. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, sent Wahaj. He sent Wahaj to Yemen. And we're going to get a little more detail, a little bit more, but let's listen to the words of the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. He said, you're going to the people of the book. Who are you going to? To the people of the book. فَيَكُنْ عَوْلَ أَتَّبَعُهُمْ إِلَىٰ أَنْ يُوحِدُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. Therefore, let the first thing يَدْعُوهُ that you invite them to is the oneness of Allah. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, لما بعث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم when the Prophet said Wahaj to Yemen, he said, you're going to the people of the book. Therefore, let the first thing you do, تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَىٰ أَنْ يُوحِدُ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى. Let the first thing you do, invite them to the oneness of Allah. Tell me the difference between these two statements. The difference between Muru awladukum bis-salat, order your children to make salat. فَيَكُنْ أَوْلَا مَا تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَىٰ أَنْ يُوحِدَ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى. Let the first thing you invite them to is the oneness of Allah. What's the difference between the two statements? Yes.
The first one there, you understand Saudi, and the second one, you understand the two words.
Yes, what you said is correct. The first one, presumably they understand Tawheed. And the second one, they don't. Okay, more. Yes.
When you order, the prayer is more important, but the other one's sort of implementation.
Ha! Almost perfect. Get rid of the soil. The first one ain't soil, it is. And the second one ain't soil, it is. You see, the first one is a commandment. Muru awladukum. Order your children to make salah. The second one is not order. You don't order people. You don't order people to come into Islam. You don't demand people to come into Islam. You demand people to make salah. But you don't demand people to come into Islam. Is the word da'ah, and da'ah means to invite. To invite is different from ordering. Yes, ma'am. What is
My name is Habiba.
Habiba.
Habiba, yes. And my question is the father, when I tried to my own and I about my son, when I tried to tell them, go ahead, pray, and the father is sitting and watching TV and what this was, they become, how am I that?
I want to make sure I heard what you said. Repeat it again. I want to make sure I heard what you said. I think I did, but I want to make sure.
If I want to make like my children go ahead and pray.
Yes.
And the father is sitting and watching TV. And
You said the father? You said the father? The father's watching TV?
Yeah, and I teach them like maybe money, like the sisters, they have no problem at home. The father is sitting and watching TV. It's not that they stand up and pray.
You got another issue there. It's a different issue.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. You're going to talk about it. Now, brothers and sisters, all throughout the Quran, you see this commandment of giving da'wah. Consider this. Chapter 1 of the famous chapters, chapter 16, 125, we're going to talk about this in detail. How many of you know or are studying Arabic? Raise your hand. Know or are studying Arabic? Okay, good. How many desire to study Arabic? Raise your hand. Every Muslim ought to have an idea to study Arabic language. Wallahi. Must you know Arabic to be a good Muslim? No. But wallahi, if you know Arabic, you'll be much better. I swear by Allah, you understand the Quran better, you understand the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you don't understand Arabic language, and I'm going to give you some examples today why I say that. Consider this. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة وموعظة حسنة وجادلهم بالتي أحسن. Call to the way of thy Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching, and argue with them in ways that are best. We're going to talk about this in more detail later. This word, those who study Arabic, udu, what is it? Udu, what is it? Yes. Yeah, it's an invitation, but the word udu, yeah, it's an order. It's an order, it's a commandment. It ain't like, yo man, you want to go me do some da'wah? No, it ain't no, could you please? No, you have to do it. It's a commandment. فِعْلُ عَمَّ أُدْعُ إِلَى سَبِيلِ رَبِّكَ بِالْحِكْمَةِ وَمَوْعِظَةٍ حَسَنَةٍ. But, who's speaking? Allah speaking, right? Everybody agree? Allah speaking. Look at the context. Allah speaking. But who is Allah speaking to? The Prophet, who said that? You sure? You want to think about it? You want to think about it? You don't want to think about it? It's what you heard in Tafsir. Who's Allah speaking to? I take it, okay, I'm not saying you're wrong. Mostly everybody? Muslims. All Muslims. Ummah of Muhammad?
Everyone.
Hey, Allah saying something in the Quran. I'm asking a simple question. Who is he speaking to? And the jinn too. Who? Oh, those who believe. All of us. In the universe. MashaAllah. You know who's right? The very first brother who said he's talking to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It might imply others also, but if you study the Arabic, Udu ila sabili rabbika, rabbika, singular, masculine. You, Muhammad, call the people to the way of the Lord bil-hikmah, with wisdom and beautiful preaching. What's the significance of that? That Allah is not speaking to us on the surface of it, but He's speaking to Muhammad, and He's telling Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam how to call the people to Islam. What is the significance of that verse if the verse is not speaking to all of mankind? If it's speaking to the messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, then what's the significance of that? Why should we have in the Quran a commandment that Allah gives to the Prophet? Because I asked you a question. What does Allah mean call to the way of the Lord with wisdom? Wisdom. Yo, brother, you gotta do it with wisdom. You ain't calling the people right, brother, because you ain't using no hikmah. You gotta use wisdom. What is wisdom? What is wisdom? Is wisdom left to our own discretion? Or is wisdom defined? And if it's defined, it's defined by whom? You see, it is a commandment to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is. But it's showing us how the Prophet did it so that now when we do it, we know how to do it. Okay? So the first point I want to make is that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, is given a commandment. Now think about this verse. Chapter 33 in Isaiah, verse 45. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها النبي إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا يا أيها النبي, O Prophet, إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ, we have sent you as a shahid, a witness, mubashirin, a giver of good news, a nadhirin, a warner, and a da'i, ilallah, a caller to Allah, bi'idhnihi, by His permission, wa sirajan munira, and a bright light. The Prophet was given a commandment. And you know what? Every prophet was given a commandment to do da'wah. Every one of them, no exception. Every prophet had the responsibility to call the people to Allah, every one of them, without exception. But why? Why do we call people to Allah? Why do we give da'wah? I know Allah, He tells us we should do it. But why? Why are you doing this da'wah? لقد أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه ولبث فيهم 1000 سنة إلا 50 عاما. And we sent Noah to his people, and he stayed among them 950 years. Imagine someone giving da'wah for 950 years. And only a few people accept him. 950 years, and he's doing da'wah. Why? Why are these prophets doing da'wah? What is the objective of the da'wah? And why they spend all the time doing da'wah, and why do we spend the time doing da'wah? What's the objective of da'wah? Why do we give people da'wah? Why do we call people to Islam? Why? professor. You want to talk to the guy on the businessman down the street. Why? What's the objective of da'wah? Yes, ma'am. The objective of da'wah is to worship Allah. What do you mean by that? For you, the call, or for the one who's called? Why? Why are you calling people to Islam? Why? So that they worship Allah? Yes, ma'am. Amen. Workshop me, everybody gotta work. You gotta pull your load, man. I don't play that stuff.
I think it's everybody's job that we have to give dawah to everything. That's why we are here.
I'll be there in a minute. Yes, ma'am.
So you can tell the people the truth.
So you can tell the people the truth. I'm giving dawah so I can tell the people the truth. Yeah, I want something more than that. Yes, ma'am. Again?
Answer their question.
To answer the question, I want more than that. Yes. True. The more you give, the more you. True. I want more than that. Yes. Excellent. Love the people. You want to have a connection with Allah? Good. Yes. Again? Our mission on earth is to okay, good, yes. Yes. To call people to what they created for, yes. Ah, good.
Because it's a commandment of Allah, and because by joining good you get the reward of it.
Very good. Because it's a commandment from Allah, because you do it, you get the reward of it. We can come to that later, yes. So then you can send it from the hellfire. Good. Save them from ignorance and at the same time continue on the sunnah of the Prophet. Excellent. Anything else? Yes. To know their Creator. All of that's true. Let me read something for you. I'm going to recommend 6 books to read. One of them is called The Da'wah Among Non-Muslims in the West, and some conceptual and methodological aspects from the Quran Murad. And you can take a look at it. I'll leave them on the desk. You can write all the names down. There's a number of books on the market, and I found a few. But let me read something that he said I thought was very interesting. And all of the answers, by the way, were very good. Listen to what he says on page 17. The objective of da'wah is not to win an argument, to score a victory, or to silence an opponent. It is to win and activate a heart, a mind, indeed a life for the cause of Allah. The objective of da'wah is not to win in arguments, to score a victory, to silence an opponent. It is to win and activate a heart, a mind, indeed a life for the cause of Allah. Da'wah is worship. Da'wah is worship. When you do what Allah commands you to do, it's ibadah, it's worship. So when you do da'wah, you're worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not the objective of da'wah to make converts. It is not the objective of da'wah to make converts. Converts, people converting to Islam is a desired, it's a desired outcome, but not the goal and the objective of da'wah. It's good. People take shahada. It's good. It's a very good thing. But we don't give da'wah so that the people can become Muslim. That's not what we do it for. How do you know it? There's a very powerful hadith. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah showed him the prophets in all of the ummah, all of the nations. And he said, I saw one prophet with a handful of followers, and another one with 1 or 2 followers, and some none, some not even one. If the objective of da'wah is to get converts, you would say they failed. But you cannot say that to any prophet that they failed. They didn't fail. The question is, did they do the job? Did they do the job? Did they invite? Because the outcome is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, one of the things that helped me as a da'i in this country, this verse from the Quran, and I'll tell you in a second the exact verse, وَمَنْ كَانَ لِنَفْسٍ أَن تُؤْمِنَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ أَن تُؤْمِنَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. No one can believe except by the will of Allah. No one can believe except by the will of Allah. If you think as a da'iyah that it's you did it, you gave the shahada, you made the Muslim because you had that great argument and you did it, you missed the point. You didn't do it. You didn't do it. So you don't have to feel bad if people don't take shahada, and you shouldn't exalt. Be happy the person takes shahada, alhamdulillah, but give the credit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me give you some evidence. Listen to the dua of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very famous dua. اللهم أعز الإسلام بعمر بن الخطاب أبي جهل بن هشام. اللهم أعز الإسلام بعمر بن الخطاب أو أبي جهل بن هشام. ترجمة. Someone translate for me. Translate. Listen carefully.
Process is basically making a dua for the conversion of Umar al-Radhan, the son of Khattab, or Amir ibn Hisham, who is also called Abu Jahl.
How many agree with him? How many agree with him? How many? 50%? MashaAllah. What do you mean by 50%?
Prophet that Islam should be, progressed with the, conversion of people. One of the ummahs.
Huh?
One of the ummahs. What's the ummahs?
Say it again?
Prophet is the one who gets strength to Islam. These two ummahs. Ummahs.
Allahumma a'izz al-Islam. A'izz al-Islam.
It's basically, giving the Izzat Islam the respect, and the honor.
Is he saying, make one of them Muslim? Or is he saying something more profound? Allahumma a'izz al-Islam bi Umar ibn al-Khattab Abu Ahli Jahl ibn Hisham. He's not saying, oh Allah, make one of them Muslim. De facto he is, but he's not. That's not his emphasis. His emphasis is the Islam, the strengthening of the Islam. What point do you learn from this dua? Two major lessons you learn from this dua. What you learn from this dua? What are the two things you learn from this dua? What you learn from this dua? This is the Allah strengthen Islam by Umar ibn Khattab or Abu Jahl ibn Hisham. 3 or 4 lessons you learn from it. What you learn from this? Listen. You have to know the people you make a da'wah to. Why? Why is that important here in this context?
Because the Arabs at the time admired most of those people. So like
Very good. Very good. Have the people's respect. Very good. What else? What else? What else? Yes. They're strong personalities, but at that point, they're not Muslims. They're not Muslims, not even just non-Muslims, you can say hostile to Islam. And even though they were hostile to Islam, the Prophet still made dua that Allah strengthen Islam by one of these two more. Yes. They can lead a lot of people. That's true. They can strengthen Islam, there's no doubt. Again? Yes, more.
And it's not only dawah, but you have to make dua too.
The first step of da'wah is dua. The first step of da'wah is dua. How many of you like me, reverts or converts, raise your hand? Okay. Okay? How many of us made dua that Allah would guide our parents to Islam? Okay. So that's the first step. But something more than that. A crucial lesson we learn here. A crucial lesson we learn here. Yes. I want to kiss you, man. I'm serious. I want to kiss you bad. Go ahead. You see, who became a Muslim with this dua? One of them. It's not in the hand of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. You could be the best da'i in the world, the most eloquent, the best personality, the best character, and that don't mean you're going to make the people come to Islam. Here's the evidence. إِنَّكَ لَا تَحْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. إِنَّكَ لَا تَحْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Part of June. Part of June. Yes.
You do not guide who you love, but Allah guides whoever.
You can't guide who you love, but Allah guides to the straight path whomsoever He wills. But here goes the Arabic again. إِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. Who's speaking? Allah. Who is He speaking to? To Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And what was the circumstance under which that verse was revealed? Yes. Abu Talib, his uncle. What happened? Abu Talib, his uncle. What happened? And look at the wisdom of this, by the way. What happened? What happened? He didn't what? He didn't accept Islam. When? When he was dying. Which tells us that we should never give up to the very end. So you know what? I done called this person to Islam for 5 years, man. I ain't calling no more. No. To the very end. And then Abu Talib was offered Islam by the noble messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He didn't accept Islam. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Yeah, man, I studied down for 10 years, man. And you ain't no guarantee that you won't do nothing except it be the will of Allah. So he tried to get his uncle, Qul la ilaha illallah, Qul la ilaha illallah. He didn't do it. And then the Prophet was sad. And see, listen to the word. See, Allah gave us so much wisdom. إِنَّكَ لَا تَحْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ أحببت. Wait a minute. What'd you say? إنك لن تهدي من أحببت. What? You can't guide who you are? Love. What was the religion of Abu Talib? It was a mushrik. Right? Prophet loved him. Here's a brother, I'm going to say this last and we're going to stop for Salah. I could not believe it. A brother, he said, I was talking to him, he said, Imam, his mother not Muslim. He said, Imam, if my mother died, I wouldn't even go to a funeral. I said, what? Let me get you straight. That's your mother. You mean to tell me you won't go to the funeral? You can't make dua for her, but you can go to the funeral. You know what it means for you as a Muslim, you don't show up at your mother's funeral? What your other family members will say? You want to get dawah? Go to the funeral. Go to the funeral. And let you be there, let you console the rest of the family. Let you guide them. I've given more dawah at funerals than you could ever imagine. No, man. The Prophet loved Abu Talib. And then he came to me the next week and said, you know, Siraj, you were right. And now he's got a good relationship with his mom. Because we have these crazy, weird ideas that we can't have a good relationship with our non-Muslim relatives. It's crazy. It's insane. We're going to stop. We're going to make salah. Inshallah, we come back, share what time? 2:15. Assalamu alaikum.
I was used to doing events, right? And to me, sometimes we gauge the events by how many people convert to Islam or revert to Islam. And I think what Imam Siraj taught us was that's not the point. The point is simply to convey the message. Because if the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings of God be upon him, if he worked so diligently for Abu Talib, and was not able to convert him, then you and I, we have a job to do, but we leave ultimate ibadah up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To share more jewels, inshallah, Imam Siraj will be with us. Give us just a few minutes and we'll get started, inshallah.
Well, this is such a treat. This is such a treat. This is Brian, 27 years old. He wants to take shahada.
Allahu Akbar.
I mean, come on.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
A lot of people are gift for what? And see, this is always for me, this is, you know, when you get someone who come back to Allah and bear witness of the oneness of Allah, it's just a great thing. I asked Brian, what made you make this decision? How did it happen? And he actually said he had some friends from Yemen. I've been talking to him on and off for about a year. And he said he'd been talking to Allah. And he said he's ready to do it. So we're going to have the privilege of witnessing this great shahada. So take the mic. We're going to say Arabic and English. You want to say English first or Arabic first? Up to you.
Try Arabic first. Yes.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah.
Takbir. Allahu Akbar.
I bear witness that there is no God except Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Now, do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have one sister.
One sister. Well, now we have 1,500,000,000 brothers and sisters. So we're going to take this 1 minute and you brothers to welcome them to the fold of Islam. Hug them up, kiss them, whatever you want to do. We're going to talk about what I think, in my own opinion, is one of the most important aspects of a da'i. This is what you are. You're a da'i and da'iyah. You are people who call people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you got to remember this. Don't ever forget what you're calling people to. You're not calling people to an organization. People can join your organization, that's not the point. But you as a da'i and da'iyah, your point is that you want to call people to Allah. Not to your race, not to your nation, not to your nationality, not to your color, not to anything. But if you're going to be a da'i, people Allah, for Allah, then you're going to call people to Allah. I'm going to ask a question that at first is going to look insignificant, especially among the sisters. You say, Siraj, why you ask this question? But you will see in a few minutes that's going to be very, very significant. How many of you, men and women, know something about light or know something about basketball? Raise your hand. Now, I want you to tell me, in your opinion, the greatest basketball player ever. This is your opinion. We ain't gonna fight about it. We're not gonna bloody each other up. But raise your hand and tell me the greatest basketball player in your opinion ever. Yes. Michael Jordan. Who was going to say Michael Jordan? Raise your hand. Look around. Look around. Look at this. Even the sisters know about Michael Jordan. Even there's a sister there who never heard of Michael Jordan, she raised her hand. Now, anyone else? Yes. LeBron James. LeBron James used to be until the fourth quarter came. Yes. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, good. Hakeem Olajuwon, yes. LeBron James. Magic Johnson, very good. Who? Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant. I'm going to do an experiment now. It may not work, it might work, and it may not work. Most of you raised your hand for Michael Jordan. You know who Michael Jordan was? Okay. We'll change. Okay, we'll change. Okay. Old time back there. Michael Jordan made a lot of money. As one of the greatest basketball players ever, he made a lot of money. But he made infinitely more money in endorsements than he did in salary. Made way over $100 million a year. Not through playing basketball, but through endorsements. I'm going to take a leap in faith. What might Michael Jordan eat for breakfast? Sure. Huh? Nobody? Ease. That's my stepson. He's smart. Nobody, why do you say Wheaties? He was the spokesman for Wheaties. He was on their package. Excuse me, sister, I'm going to ask a question. This is personal. What kind of underwear did Michael Haynes? What's your Haynes? Haynes. What might he have eaten for lunch? I heard it. Not last night. What was the name of the place first over here? Ballpark. The point I'm trying to show you is that Michael Jordan made a lot of money not playing basketball but endorsements. Why would these people, Brian, why would these people give him all that money? They want to give him charity? Why did they give Michael Jordan all that money? Why did they give him over $100 million a year in endorsements? Why? Yes. This man is serious. This man is serious. He's going to give you a principle. Take the mic, man.
If other people see him doing it, they'll do it.
If other what?
Other people see him, them doing it, him doing it, they'll do it.
They'll do it. Would you do it? Yes. People in business understand the law. This is the law. People will emulate those whom they respect and admire. People will emulate those whom they respect and admire. People will either do it in a superficial way or they do it in a real way. One of the greatest commercials, in my opinion, ever was a commercial that came out when Michael Jordan was in his popularity, and it went something like this: be like Mike. You remember that? Be like Mike. Remember that? What they were saying, the advertisers, what they were saying is that, hey, you want to be like Mike? Mike will eat weeds. He wear Hanes. He eat ball and he drinks. Yeah. And so many people ate weeds because Michael Jordan ate weeds. Now, something happened a couple of years ago. One of the greatest golfers ever, a man by the name of Tiger Woods, lost his endorsements. Companies who were paying him millions of dollars, they withdrew his endorsements and stopped paying him. Why did they stop paying him? He had an affair. But what's the point? Yes. People no longer respected him. So the company withdrew his name from the class. Kobe Bryant, someone said Kobe Bryant, when he had the affair, they withdrew his name. Stopped paying him. Michael Vick, the great football player, what did they do? They withdrew his endorsements because dog fighting. You learn here a principle, a very important principle. And by the way, in the business world, they know that. People, they expect you, hope that you would imitate those whom you respect and admire. This is one of the greatest sports figures. They put them on TV to endorse their products. Now, look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. You have in the messenger of Allah a beautiful pattern of conduct, a shape of أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. A model. You have in Muhammad a model. And for us as Muslims, it's not like be like Mike. It's be like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look how we admire him. Now the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, when Allah gave him a commandment to call his near relatives in the beginning of his mission, he started calling them. And he got them together, and he did something profound. Look at the sagacity of what he did. Look at the wisdom of what he did. He says to his tribe, what if I told you that there was an enemy coming to attack you? Would you believe me? What did they say? Yes. What did they say? Yes. Why? Why did they believe him? It's trustworthy. He said, I mean, he never told no lie. So of course if you say that an enemy is coming. If he says that, they believe it because he's our man. He's the trustworthy one. Look how the prophet drew them in. Look at the wisdom. He drew them in. And now, boom, he's going to hit him. Boom. He said, well, I warn you about a punishment from Allah. He's now the messenger of Allah. You see? This principle. In order to be a good guy, you know what you need? You need credibility. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had credibility. You want to be a guy, you want to be credible. And check this out. Who the first one who follows his mission? Khadija, his wife, the closest to him. Who else? Abu Bakr, his best friend. Who else? Ali, his cousin, 11 years old. Who else? I couldn't think, yeah, he's one of the early ones. Zayd ibn Haritha, his free slave. But what point do you get here? Those closest to him. Those closest to him. You want to give dawah? Those closest to him. What if a mother have a son who's a crackhead? You know what crackhead is? You know what crackhead is? You don't know what crackhead is. No, you have no idea. Crackhead. Somebody cracked his head? No. A crackhead is a drug addict. They take drugs. They take a drug called crack cocaine, crack cocaine. And you know what? Here's a guy always stealing from his mother to buy drugs. He said, Mom, come talk about Islam. You know what I'm saying? And she talking about Islam and bringing to Islam. You got any credibility? Man is a liar. Known to be a liar. Any credibility? You don't have credibility. So the thing that you're going to have as a daddy, you're going to have credibility, man. You got to be honest and you got to be sincere. I want to paint a picture for you, and I want you to think about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks in the Quran, فَتَأْمُرُ النَّاسِ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do you invite the people, أَتَأْمُرُ النَّاسِ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ? Do you invite people to do good and you forget to practice it yourself? وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلُونَ الْكِتَابِ, and you recite the book, the scripture. What have you no sense? I want to paint a picture for you. Look at this picture. You want hellfire. And all the people of hellfire gather around this person. They recognize it. Ya fulan, malaka. Oh, so-and-so, what happened to you? Didn't you used to enjoy the good and forbid the evil? أَكُنْتُمْ تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ? بَلَى. Yes, I كنت أعمل بالمعروف ولا آتي. I wanted the people to do good, but I didn't do it myself. And I told the people to stay away from the haram, and I did the haram myself. They recognize the person. This is the person giving dawah. This is the person giving dawah. They're talking dawah. But you know what? Allah sees them. Because while they talk about what they do to the people, what the people should do, they themselves are not practicing it. you're going to be a da'i, the first one you have to talk to is yourself. And make sure that you yourself is practicing what you're preaching. Does that make sense? Brother told me he accepted Islam in Detroit, Michigan. No getting Islam? A crackhead. Brother who used to be a Muslim who was on drugs, but he told him about Islam. So, if you want to be a good da'i, you want to practice it yourself. There are some impediments, things that get in the way of the da'wah. I want to take a couple minutes and tell me, what are the impediments of da'wah? What are the things that get in the way of us giving da'wah, us inviting the people to Islam? What gets in the way of that? Yes. Shaitan, true. Yes. Very good. Again, say it again. Negative social view in the media. Good. What else stops us from getting da'wah? What makes it difficult for us to invite people to Islam? What gets in the way?
Lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge, that's good. What else? I can't give this da'wah.
Insecurity.
Insecurity, very good. Excellent. Insecurity, yes, ma'am. Again? Very good. Excellent. The conflicts between the Muslims in the Muslim community. We're trying to invite non-Muslims to Islam, and they say, oh my God, do you see what's going on in the Muslim world? Every time I go out publicly to speak about Islam, the people, they're saying, okay, that sounds good, but where can I find it? What Muslim country can I go to and see what you're talking about? This beautiful brotherhood and all of these things, these ideal things that you're talking about, where can I see it? You tell me. So you tell me the country. Tell me. I'm not arguing with you, I'm just asking. Tell me the country. So you're here? America? But can't you see that it's problematic? That while we're trying to invite people to Islam, people see negative pictures of Islam, and it's very difficult for them to say, you know what? I don't want to do that. Because in the end, you know what? The reality is, you want to be so beautiful as a person that people say, wow, I want to be like that. Think about this. We have to get rid of the personal problem with us, insecurity. And the way we get rid of the insecurity, one of the ways that we get rid of it, is that you have to look at the da'wah as not personal, but rather a commandment of Allah. And when they reject you, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, who are you going to call to this da'wah? Who are you going to call? And this is a big issue here. And I want you to write this down. And I want you never to forget it, because this is one of the great keys of da'wah. Everybody is a potential Muslim. I'm saying everybody. Everybody is a potential Muslim. You don't have a right to say, I'm not going to give da'wah to that person. You have to give da'wah to everybody. If we leave it in the hands of some people, some will say, I'm not going to call those black people to Islam, or I'm not going to call those Americans to Islam, or I'm not going to call those Catholics to Islam, or I'm not going to call those communists to Islam, or I'm not going to call those Jews to Islam, or I'm not going to call those homosexuals to homosexuals? Of course we do. We have them in our masjid. I mean, used to be. No, I'll say that again. We have people in the masjid who used to be homosexuals. You surprised? You looking at me like funny, like what? You don't like this? What? I'm getting something. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? I'm getting something. I don't know. Talk to me. Talk to me. Now is the time to say, what? You don't want people used to be homosexual? Used to be. You used to be. No, they used to be. I mean, they used to be. They used to. I know them. There's people in my community that have AIDS. There's people in your community that have AIDS. We shouldn't give them down? Yes. It's how to go to the other issue. We talk about that inshallah. But this is the point, brothers and sisters. People have a right to know about Islam. Everyone has a right to know about Islam. And we should invite everyone. When we do a little role playing later on, we can talk about that inshallah. Now, one more thing. I want to mention this in the first session about da'wah. Scholars argue about the da'wah. Is it like salat, fard ayn, or is it like janazah, fard kifaya? Is it something that as long as some people do it, then the rest of the Muslims don't have to do it? We leave it to Ahmadiyya, rahimahullah, and we don't have to do it. Dr. Jamal Badawi, he does it, we don't have to do it. So hey, let them do it, we don't have to do it, they're doing it. Or is everyone responsible for giving da'wah? Imam Abu Hanifa, radiallahu anhu, it is said that when he had his janazah, he had 6 janazahs in one day for him. And the first janazah, 50,000 people attended his janazah. 50,000. Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal, it is reported that 1,300,000 people attended his janazah. According to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, حَقُّ مُسْلِمٍ عَلَى مُسْلِمٍ خَمْسٍ. The right of a Muslim over another Muslim is 5. And one of them is you have to follow the janazah. It's mandatory. But do you have to attend the janazah of Abu Hanifa? Do you have to attend the janazah of Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal? No. Somebody has to do it. And if no one does it, it will be a sin on the whole ummah. It's fard kifaya. What about da'wah? So they argue. Some say, no, it's fard ayn. Everyone has to do da'wah like salah. You have to make salah, you have to give da'wah. So, it's probably a little bit in between. Everyone won't have to give da'wah all the time, but everyone should make some attempt at some point to give da'wah. Right? You should give da'wah. And brothers and sisters, you will find out that every day, Allah gives you a couple of opportunities to give da'wah in a very natural way. I'm going to give you some examples. By the way, you have no idea that Sheikh Johnson Idris was one of my teachers. He was telling us that sometimes there's almost an infinite number of ways in which people can take shahada. Let me give you a couple of examples. This is a true story. A sky cat took shahada. Sky cat. You know, at the airport, you have the people get your luggage. I met him. He took shahada. And by the way, I always treat sky caps in a very good way. I always give them a big tip. I talk to them. I interact with them. They're people. You know, most people, they look at them as, you know, the guy that carries the luggage, and they kind of look down on them. I don't. I engage them. I talk to them. This man, African American, took shahada. A sky cap. You know why he took shahada? One of the passengers left the book behind by accident. And it was a book about Islam. And he picked it up. And he read it. And he took Shahada. The greatest da'i, right, and ever, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I told you the first session, there's no guarantee that even the messenger of Allah, he gives you da'wah that you're going to become Muslim. There's no guarantee to that. So sometimes the wisest, the greatest, can give da'wah and no results. And by the way, I want to tell you this too, you got to be patient with da'wah, because sometimes you drop a seed and it may not happen right there, but it happens later on. How many times did someone come to me and say, Imam Siraj, you remember last year you came to our university and you gave a talk? I said, yeah, I remember the university. I was there. And the next week I took Shahada. Or the next month I took Shahada. But let me tell you about this Shahada. It's going to blow your mind. My mother, years ago, invited me and my family to Thanksgiving dinner. She's a Christian. What am I going to do? I said, okay, Mom, I'll come. We'll come. But let me bring the meat. So we went Thanksgiving Day. I know what you're saying. Imam Siraj, astaghfirullah. How you go to Thanksgiving dinner with your mom, with your Catholic mother? I went. And we sat down. At that time I had Sarah, Basma, Sharifa, Udra, and I had about 6 kids. I lose count. And so we sit at the table, and my mother said to me and says, son, bless the table, make dua. I did. She was there, and her husband, Lloyd Sage, Christian. And we eating. My son, Muhammad, 5 years old, says, Granny, my mom, because of Granny, Granny, when are you and Papa, my stepfather? When are you going to become Muslims anyway? Straight up. Ain't no wisdom, no nothing. 5 years old, asking his grandma, when you going to become Muslim? You know what my mother said? She said, you know what, we might as well do it now. My mother took Shahada and her husband took Shahada that night, Thanksgiving night, because my 5-year-old son Muhammad said, when you're going to become Muslim. You know. You don't know. You don't know. Allah has his ways. I was sitting in my office a month ago, 10 minutes before Salat al-Dhuhr. Brothers come to my office and say, Imam Siraj, there's a man outside, a big man. He came to the masjid and he started crying. And he sat down and took his shoes off and said, I need help. Imam, what should we do? I said, bring him to my office. His wife was with him. They came to my office. The first thing I did is, he's a big man, like 6'3", 250, 60 pounds. The first thing I did, I hugged him. I said, you know what, the big teddy man, he started smiling. I said, you know what, we're going to pray right now, but if you give me 5 minutes, I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk to you. We went and made salah, and I came back and he said, you know what, I need help. I need help. I have to guide my family. I can't do anything. I want to become Muslim. And he became Muslim. He didn't become Muslim because we went out there giving da'wah, inviting him to Islam. Allah guided him to go to the masjid, to come to the masjid. He heard something about Islam, and now he's a Muslim. I gave him my cell number. He gave me his phone number. He says, this is my address. This is my apartment number. Please make sure. I asked him to come to June. He said, okay, but make sure someone comes get me. And we did, and he became a very serious. His name is Imam. He took Shahada. And his wife was now asking questions. You know, she said, well, can I be a Muslim and what do you call that? like a star. What do you call that? No. What do you call that? What's that thing? It's a group of Eastern Star. You know what Eastern Star is? What's the male? Mason. Can I be a Mason and also be Muslim? I said, you know what, once you become a Muslim, you don't have to do that. But she's interested now, comes to the masjid. So there's so many ways that people become Muslim, you don't even have any idea. But the key is, your job and my job is to make sure that we get rid of everything that's an impediment to the da'wah. One more, then we're going to break. One more, we're going to break. You know, brothers and sisters, can I tell you something that's in the Bible? It's interesting. It is reported that someone asked Jesus, he said, Master, which is the greatest commandment? He said, the greatest commandment is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one, and that you shall love him with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind. And the second commandment is like unto the first, that thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Sounds familiar? The prophet said, whoever believes on the last day, let him honor, let him respect, let him treat his neighbor with kindness. How many of us treat our neighbor with kindness? 2 weeks ago, I'm coming home, and across the street with one of my neighbors with the hood open of her car. I came over there and said, I've never met her before. I said, you need any help? She said, oh, no, I'll just clean out the car. She said, well, thank you so much. And I said, that's what neighbors are for. Simple. Do you know every time she sees me, I say, how you doing? Hi. And the other day, I got a ticket on my car. Because we have to move our car from side to side on certain days. And she came and said, you know what? I didn't know that was your car. I'll look out next time and make sure they don't give you no ticket. Being a neighbor. In Atlanta, Georgia, we have a neighbor, a white woman named Jackie. Found out that Jackie had a lot of cats. A lot of cats. And she had a lot of property. And my wife told me that this woman, she fed the cats like some cereals. She didn't have no money. So I went to Kroger's a big supermarket, and bought all this cat food for her. And gave it to the woman. And she's so appreciative. My wife has a garden. She grows food in the garden. And I wish I had it. You have your computer with you? You should see the food she grows in the garden. And she calls the neighbors over, they come to the backyard and they get food from the garden. They love her. He listens to his mother. She goes riding with the neighbor in the car. She comes up to the house, she comes to the house for dinner. You see, brothers and sisters, this is the teaching of Islam. We should respect our neighbors. If you want to be a good dying, treat your neighbors with kindness. And be careful, because the opposite can happen. When you're bad to your neighbors, see, they're watching you, right? And they know you're Muslim. And when you and your husband be arguing and fighting, I get tired, what are you talking about? You're Muslim. And they're listening to you. And then the next day you say to them, you want to be Muslim? They said, no, thank you. Let's take a break. Assalamu alaikum. Da'wah and its objective. Da'wah and its objective. Shamim Siddiqui, S-H-A-M-M-I-M, Siddiqui, S-I-D-D-I-Q-I. One book is called Da'wah and its objective, and the other one is called the Da'wah Program. The Da'wah Program. And the next one is called Islamic Movement, Problems and Perspectives, by a man named Fathi Yakan, F-A-T-H-I, Yakan, Y-A-K-A-N, Fathi Yakan. And the last one is words of advice regarding da'wah. Words of advice regarding da'wah from the great scholar Abdulaziz ibn Abdullah ibn Baz. Words of advice regarding da'wah from this put Ibn Baz, I-B-N-B-A-A-Z. By the way, I have here a book. And this book I don't recommend you to get. This is really funny. For years I've been collecting books on Dawah, just to see what other people say about Dawah. So I picked up this book called Dawah to Americans, Theory and Practice. And I read the book from cover to cover. And to my amazement, I didn't find one verse from the Quran or one hadith. How is it possible to write a book about da'wah and not mention one ayah from Quran and one hadith? And it's interesting that the person who wrote it, and I'm not mentioning the name on purpose, but they're no longer Muslim. And Dr. Jamal Badawi said to me once, he said, Imam, I doubt even if they ever were Muslim at all. Because you can't, it's impossible to write a book about da'wah and you don't mention one ayah from Quran or one hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So it's called Da'wah to Americans, Theory and Practice. You don't have to get this one. Now I got some work for you to do. You have a chance right now that one person can become a Muslim by you just saying this person is a Muslim. I want you to think right now, who is it would you want to be a Muslim if there's one person that you have the ability to say, be a Muslim, and they are Muslim? Anybody think about someone? Everybody got one? Everybody got one? Who would you say? Who? Your neighbor. Good. Why did you say your neighbor? The wonderful lady.
All the good characteristics of the Muslims, all that she's like she's to each other.
Excellent. Who would you say? Who would you say?
My students.
The student? Why?
Because I interact with them all my time, and if I'm going to live Islam, they can look at me and role model Islam.
Who would you say? My mother. I knew that. Who would you say? The father. Who would you say? You don't have to know that person. You don't have to know. Anybody in the world. President Bush? Which one? The son. Siraj. MashaAllah. Yes.
Maybe Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Obama. MashaAllah. Oprah. MashaAllah. Who? Lady Gaga? Who said Lady Gaga? Well, she got to change the dress though. Huh? Eminem. Why?
Yes,
A lot of musical talent. And therefore, he can perform for the Muslims? It would be awesome. Yes. Who? Alive? No, alive. Only alive. Who? Your co-worker. College friend. College friend. Colleagues. Colleague. Ron Paul. Why Ron Paul? Yes. Your friend. What's his name? Yes. Tony Blair. Why Tony Blair? So now you're going to suffer. Make him suffer by becoming Muslim. Sarah Palin. Who said Sarah Palin? Why? Anyone need compelling yesterday? So they said what? Everybody. ماشي. واحد فقط. واحد فقط. One only. You don't? Yes, ma'am. Your best friend, good. Your brother? MashaAllah.
My professor.
Your professor? Why your professor?
I went to a Baptist university and she tried to convert me to Christianity and we had a lot of talk.
MashaAllah.
But I couldn't convince her, so I really want her to. And she's very good believer, like.
Really?
Yeah.
Excellent. Listen.
Very careful. Very careful.
Your?
Caseworker.
Caseworker. Good. Yes. Who?
Government officials. Government officials. Government officials.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Orientalists. Okay. Another one, we got 3 people. Now this. What's the 4th one? Yes. Tiger Woods. The reason I ask you this question, brothers and sisters, is that often we don't even think about it. I remember once my wife said, Siraj, I want to invite Michael Jackson to Islam. She wrote a letter. She wanted to invite Michael Jackson to Islam, and she wrote a letter. If you want your mom, your dad, co-workers, your professor, your teacher, Lady Gaga, Bush, Obama, Oprah, if you want them to be Muslim, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? How will you try? What methodology would you use? One of the things that if you believe that da'wah is fard ayn, it's incumbent upon every person, or if you believe it's fard kifaya, still the question is, how much time do you put in the call to da'wah? How much money do you spend? How much money do your masjid spend? What part of the budget is on da'wah? And you will find out that mostly everywhere, masjids, few of them spend money and resources on da'wah. Few of them. Very few of them. You want me to tell you a great da'i? I'll tell you a great da'i. Muhammad Ali. Believe it or not. Muhammad Ali, the boxer, he's a great da'i. There's a man, was a man in Chicago named Amir Ali. He died a few years ago. Amir Ali, rahimahullah. He was the preeminent da'i in America, in my opinion. And he used to write pamphlets about who is Allah, who is Muhammad, short and beautiful. Muhammad Ali used to get boxes of these pamphlets. And you know, Muhammad Ali is still popular. We were in New York City. We went to the United Nations. I went with him. And as we were walking down the street, policemen would stop their car. So, Mr. Muhammad Ali, can I get your autograph? Everywhere he went, we went into the United Nations, everybody came out of their office, Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali. So you know what he does? Every time someone asks for the autograph, he gets a paper, a pamphlet, what is Islam, and he signs his name and gives it to them. It's Muhammad Ali. And you know what, that brother, he can't speak now. He doesn't. And even though he can't speak, he's doing da'wah. So the question is, how much time, how much energy do we put in the da'wah? Your time. People watch hours and hours of television on the internet for hours and no da'wah. How could you? So now you have to reorganize your life and say, you know what? I got to spend some time with da'wah. I don't expect you to be Ahmed Didat. I said that. I don't expect you to be Dr. Jamal Bradley. But I do expect everyone to do something according to their ability, according to their own ability. Let me tell you something about this brother Shamim Siddiqui. Shamim, if I would guess his age, about 80 years old. He has a passion for da'wah. It's a passion in getting people to become da'wah. Passion for it. He lives for it. He breathes it. One year, our masjid decided that we were going to take these pamphlets by Amir Ali. We got cases of them, and we decided that we were going to go door to door in Brooklyn and knock on people's door. And I trained the brothers. I said, look, let's go. We knock on the doors. Who is it? This is Brother Siraj from the masjid down the street. Can I speak to you for 1 minute? And they open the door. We say something for 1 minute. I'm going to let you know we're in the neighborhood. We're concerned about the neighborhood. And we want to give this free literature. And that's it. And we go. You know how many of those pamphlets we gave out? 200,000. 200,000 of these pamphlets. And you know how we did it? We went into these buildings. You don't know, I don't know if you have in the Washington area, we have those those big buildings, the projects in New York. You have that here? Not so much, right? We would go on the elevator and go to the top floor and walk down. In other words, we do all the apartments on one floor. We go down to the next floor, and we go down to the next floor. This brother Shamim Siddiqui, 80 years old, was with us. Every time we went, he was with us. He loved it so much. He said, oh, Imam, I love it. You were seeing he was in heaven. He was in heaven. Shamim Siddiqui, 80 years old, was in heaven because, why? He given da'wah. He could take that time, and that free time that he had to do something for himself, he decided to do something really for himself. And that is to give da'wah and to call other people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How much time did he spend in da'wah? So therefore, at least, every name that you said, you should say, okay, now let me spend time. How am I going to get my dad? How am I going to get my mom to accept Islam? What did I do so far? What did I do to invite them? And you know, one of the things that we do, brothers and sisters, that we have to stop doing, we have to stop being ashamed and afraid to give people da'wah. We're ashamed. We don't want to open up our mouths. We feel that we're going to be rejected. It's going to be like, you know what? They're going to look at me funny. I don't want to do it. I'm afraid. And you don't have to be afraid. And I'll tell you this, the more you do it, the more confident that you become. And you know the difference between a good athlete, a good basketball player, and a great basketball player? Sometimes they have the same equal ability. But what makes one great and stand out above the other is confidence. Confidence so big, so great, that they feel that they can do anything. And you as a da'i must be confident. I'm going to tell you something that happened, and I'm almost ashamed to say it, but I have to. Can I be honest today? Permission to speak openly and honest? Sometimes Muslims grovel, G-R-O-V-E-L, teaching the word grovel. You know what to grovel means? What do you mean by grovel? He's groveling, yes. Bending on the ground? That's right, you're close to it. What do you mean groveling? Groveling. Not pleading. It's sucking up. It's, humbling yourself. As a Muslim, we only humble ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some Muslims lack so much confidence in themselves that in front of the non-Muslims they grovel. And I'll give you an example. And I'm not saying this to be smart, I'm telling you the truth. It's an imam, a very well-known imam in New York. He was invited to a synagogue. I think we should go. I think we should go to synagogues, churches, wherever we're invited, we should go. And he said, remarkably, in the synagogue, he says, I am a Jew. I am a Jew. Now I know why he did it. He was saying, listen man, I know I'm Muslim, but you know, I'm universal. And if you're a Jew, I'm a Jew. But the problem is that that's not the way da'wah. You don't find in Quran and Sunnah someone say, I'm a Jew, do you? He's a Muslim. هو سماكم المسلمين من قبل في هذا he named you Muslim. Say this. Ladies and gentlemen, I come today in the synagogue to be with you because our prophet said, الناس كلهم بنو آدم وآدم من تراب. He said, mankind, all of them are the children of Adam, and Adam was created with dust. All of us together in humanity, we're children of Adam. I'm here with you today. I give you greeting from 1,500,000,000 Muslims. We give you greetings. Give honor and glory to Allah that you're Muslim. Don't put yourself down. As a da'i, you don't put yourself down. You never put yourself down. You don't be arrogant, but you don't grovel. I'm going to teach you another one. Yes, ma'am.
I don't think he was groveling. I think you have to put yourself in the shoes of the person you're trying to give a favorable life to Islam for. And the Jews are scared. And if you go to them and say, I bring you greetings from a billion Muslims, that's just what they're scared of.
No, it's fair. I understand. Let's talk about it for a minute. Let's talk about it for a minute, right? Let's talk about it for a minute. First of all, is it factual? No. Okay, it's not factual. So you don't want to lie. Da'wah, udu'u ila sabila bil hikmah, with his wisdom doesn't mean to lie. So number one, you're not a Jew. Number two, I understand that. But what you have to do, you have to show the beauty of Islam. That Islam respects, and if you give me a couple minutes, the next session I'm going to talk exactly about that. But it is groveling, because a Jew would never come into the masjid and say, I'm a Muslim. They don't know, should they? They should not, they're not that. They are what they are. So you don't have to say, I am a Jew, I am a Christian, I am this. No, brothers, alhamdulillah, I am Muslim. I think, thanks be to Allah, that Allah guided me to Islam. But I'm saying to you, being afraid of what they think doesn't mean that you have to go out of your character. And your character is a righteous Muslim, then you be that. If they're angry at you for being a Muslim, listen, they invited you as a Muslim. They know you're Muslim, they invited you as a Muslim. They didn't invite you as a Jew, they invited you as a Muslim. Don't betray them by calling yourself other than that. You don't have to do it, and that's what I want to teach us here. You never have to do that. Number one. Number two. Okay, we can argue about it. How many think it's okay to call yourself a Jew? If it's fair, it's fine. I mean, if you think that, well, raise your hand. Let's discuss it. Yes. Is there any way, any definition you want to give that a Muslim can call himself a Jew? Of course. That's the point. Second thing, truth happened. In a newspaper in Canada, you know what happened in Canada? One of the schools, alhamdulillah, a high school, the Muslim youth are allowed to have Jummah prayer. And by the way, that's all throughout America. We have the MSA, Muslim Student Association, and the school allocates a portion so that on Jummah they can have their Jummah prayer rather than have to leave the school and go to a masjid. So they have it in the school. In this area. My daughter, Basma, rahimahullah, and Allah bless her, she went to one of the best high schools in Brooklyn called Stuyvesant High School. She was the first one to establish Islam MSA at Stuyvesant High School. this girl was so good, Allah bless her, that every year the school would invite me to come to Stuyvesant High School for 3 days, and I would be in the school the whole day. And there would be 3 or 4 auditorium, 3 or 4 classes in every auditorium, and I would come and teach Islam. Because the angle was the history of Islam, so that they would know about Islam, they're learning about Islam in the school, so they get it from the source, they get it from the Imam. So when my daughter went to Manhattanville College, she was the first one to establish MSA at Manhattanville College, so she was treated wrong. When she died, my daughter died, she was 20 years old. She had just had a baby. She'd been married 1 year. She had a baby. Sweet, this was my sweetheart. Everybody knew her. The president of the university and professors that came to the masjid for her janazah. I learned, and I didn't know this until after she died, that there's an imam that has a masjid close to her school, a few blocks away. He told me, he said, Imam, you don't know this, but every day your daughter at lunchtime walked out of the school and went to the masjid for Salatul Dhuhr every day. So she established, and others established Islam in the school. This school, they have Juma prayer in Toronto. A prominent Muslim, he writes an article for this magazine or newspaper and said that he's against that, against the taxpayers' money used so that the Muslims could worship in the school. And let me tell you what his objection was. His objection is that they were teaching the Muslim girls to be inferior because they prayed behind the men. Legitimate point? Anybody think that's legitimate? The Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, says, pray as you see me pray. He put the men up front and the women in the back. Does that suggest that you're inferior? This is what groveling is. You don't have to grovel. You are who you are. You're Muslim. Be proud of the Muslim. Be proud of being a Muslim. And you can't give dawah unless you're proud of being who you are. You're a Muslim. You know what I mean? Groveling or not groveling? Not groveling? Again? You say again?
If you grovel to someone who's a bully, he's one. If you grovel to someone who's honest, non-Muslim,
but think about it this way. If you are against women praying behind the men, what are you suggesting where they should pray? Should they pray in front of the men, mix with the men, on the side of the men? How should you pray?
If that man was rejected, it wasn't any of his business. What was in his business was objected.
But see, this is the point I'm making, is that you bring it publicly. You putting a doubt in the people's mind. There's not a doubt in the Muslim mind. Women don't have problems praying behind men. Any have problems praying behind men? That's my point. And it's not a person without knowledge, by the way. So, brothers and sisters, my point today is this. If you really want these people to see Islam, to understand Islam, to appreciate Islam, the question is, what are you going to do about it? Will you write them a letter? Will you give them a tape? Will you give them a book? Will you invite them to a program? Will you bring someone to speak to them? What effort have you made? Inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. Any questions? Yes. Well, we're not finished the whole thing yet, but just on what we covered so far.
We as a Muslim, there are some
only Muslim by the name, not by practice, not by
True.
some cult, not by suburb. That's the business. Why is it?
Yeah. You see, this is part of the problem. She said we have some Muslims who are Muslim by name, not by practice. That's true. By the way, you find that in every society. And by the way, I would argue that every masjid have two kind of people. You have believers, and I would argue that there are no disbelievers in the masjid. There's no disbelievers in the masjid. Disbelievers are on the outside of the masjid. They don't believe. They don't pretend that they believe. So what's in the masjid are believers and hypocrites. And if you study in the synagogue, there are believers and hypocrites. If you study in the church, there are believers and hypocrites. If you study the masjid, there are believers and hypocrites. And we want to make sure that we are believers and not hypocrites. So that's why, Sister mentioned that some people who act like a Muslim say that they're Muslim but not really Muslim. You have that. Yes, ma'am.
How can we address this point to like non-Muslims when they ask? My mom always asks me like, "But how come I see Muslims they do this and that?
How come?
How come I see Muslims they do, X, Y, and Z?" She always asks me. I tell her Islam does this. She says, "Well, I know a Muslim and he doesn't do that. So how am I supposed to address that to her?"
Listen.
I can't
Her mother, a non-Muslim, right, Christian, she says, how come you have Muslims doing this and that? What do you tell her? That's easy. What do you say? What do you say? Yes. Again? A couple of issues, listen.
That like in every religion, there are people who practice and there are people who don't.
Listen, let me tell you something. Brothers and sisters, me, I hate cigarettes. Hate them with a passion. Even when I was a young one, a non-Muslim, I hated it. I used to get on my parents, why do you smoke cigarettes? Hate it. And cigarettes are very destructive, as you know. According to the World Health Organization, they said that if the nations of the world do nothing about it, in the 21st century, 1 billion people will die as a result of smoking cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes, right? I'm of the opinion, see if you agree, that smoking cigarettes is not permissible. How many agree with me? Raise your hand. How many think it's permissible? Raise your hand. How many think it's okay? Smoking cigarettes. How many think it's okay? Okay. Now, if you look at the fatwa of the great scholars of Islam now, all of them say it's haram. So not the opinion of Imam Siraj. Yes, sir. One second. So my point is, even though the overwhelming majority of Muslim scholars say that cigarettes is haram, yet Muslims sell cigarettes. But that's the easy part. Because you say, well, it's just cigarettes and alcohol, nobody's making them do it. Okay. Let me ask you something that is very, very simple. Is alcohol permitted in Islam? Anybody think it is? If you do, don't raise your hand. Now, what says, I'm telling you something, right? Alcohol, right? Purely haram. I went to, you must have heard me say this before. I went to a Muslim store where I get my newspapers every day. And this particular day, I noticed a sign that I never noticed before. And it said, alcohol not sold here. Allah Akbar. MashaAllah. No alcohol sold here. On Sundays. before 2 p.m. How? What about that? I go to the store, and the brother said, Imam Siraj. By the way, these are Muslims, owned by Muslims, operated by Muslims. I go to the store, Imam Siraj. I want to ask you a question. He's a Muslim, store owned by Muslims. He said, I have a, what's that? ATM machine, right? He said, remember, is this haram? This is the kind of thing we have there? And I started laughing. I was laughing, I was rolling on the floor. He said, Imam Siraj, I was laughing, he made me laugh. He said, why are you laughing? I said, brother, you asked me about this machine, but you sell alcohol there. You sell pork. And you asked me about this machine? He said, oh, man, you got me. Of course I got you. So the point is the hypocrisy everywhere. There's weakness everywhere. So we have some people that are weak. We have some people that, so your mother is, listen, we're human beings. You know what my mother used to always say? She says, Siraj, people are people. People are people. Some people, they're not necessarily even hypocrite, but they're weak. And they want to make money, and that's what they do. And yes, ma'am. Again? Reverse. I think what you're saying is, let's take the reverse. A person, let's say, is a cover, and they ask them why they cover, for instance. Is that, I'm not sure if I can't hear you. Can you hear what she said? Okay. Let me hold that off for a minute because I want to get to the last session. If you give me a few minutes. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then we're going to go to the next session, inshallah. 5 minutes, inshallah. I know what happens in these kinds of sessions, and I know where it goes. I'm going to take a page out of one of the smartest women that I know, that I've ever known, and that is Aisha radiallahu anha. You know what just happened in New York recently? New York State? What happened? Yeah. It was signed into law about the permissibility of same-sex marriage. And people say, yo, Siraj, you guys in New York City, man, how come you can stop it? And all of these kinds of things. And I got some opinion about that. I'm going to go to Aisha radiallahu anha, and this is going to be a point that I want to make. You know, in this country, I think there are 30 states that have anti-Sharia legislation pending. We want to make sure that the Sharia will never live or thrive in America. So anti-Sharia is pending. They are afraid of Islamic Sharia. And so when they think of Islamic Sharia, what do they think about? Cutting off the hand, or stoning, or somebody said chop off the head? Lashes. Should Americans be concerned about that? They read, man. They read that Quran. And they said, wait a minute, I read it. Cutting off the hand of the thief. I read it. This ain't taken it out of context. It's there in the book. The Muslims are savages. I don't blame them for feeling that. Let me tell you why. See if you agree with the point that Aisha made about the Quran. We find this in Bukhari Hadith volume number 6 on the Tafsir of Quran. And this is her opinion. She said, if Allah had first revealed, thou shalt not commit zina, adultery, if that was the first thing he revealed, the people would have said, I will never give up zina. If Allah had revealed in the beginning, thou shalt not drink khamr, thou shalt not drink alcohol, the people would have said, we will never give up alcohol. I agree with her. Her opinion. Do you? If you do, raise your hand. That's where the point is at. What point is being made? What point is being made? When Prophet Muhammad sent to Wahaj to Yemen, he says, سَيَكُونَ أَوَّلَ مَنْ تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَىٰ أَنْ يُوَحِّدَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. And let the first thing that you invite them to is the oneness of Allah. And if they understand that, then inform them that Allah has made farther. Allah has made it incumbent upon them to pray 5 times a day. And when they understand Tawheed, and when they get it, when they understand it, then inform them. Then and only then inform them that Allah, Allah has made it incumbent upon them to pray 5 times a day. And when they pray 5 times a day, then inform them that Allah has made it incumbent upon them to pay zakat. And when you go to people and you bring law before you even bring the tawheed and the understanding, then the people automatically reject it, even if it's coming from Allah. Allah He's not going to violate His own law. It's wrong to teach people about the law of Islam before you teach them about Allah. And this is why all those years, 13 years, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he emphasized Tawheed, the oneness of Allah. What word do you find in the Quran that's repeated more than any other word? Allah. Allah. So many places in the Quran, Allah. And then what word after Allah do you find most repeated in the Quran? What word? Salah? Mercy? No. Youth? Like you're joking, right? This is satire? No. Knowledge. Knowledge and its derivatives. All of this knowledge after Allah is knowledge. It's a system. Someone asked a question. People are looking at you. How you dress like that? It's 90 degrees, it's 35 degrees. Why you dress like that? You don't have to dress like that. Why can't you eat a little pork? You know about that, it's really funny. All my years of Islam, I've never, if you know this, right, I never find a Muslim who said, remember, I've got a weakness of pork. right? People say I got a weakness for alcohol, drugs, women, right? Men. But have you ever heard anyone say, no, I can't deal with that pork. So, people ask the question, why you can't eat pork? You can eat pork all your life, man. You come from the South. You love pork. Why you give it up? People say. Why can't you drink alcohol? I told some people came in front of me. I can give a compelling argument from here on why we should drink alcohol. Half of the murders committed in this country is a result of alcohol. Half of the fatalities on the road as a result of alcohol. 1/3 of the people who commit suicide in this country because of alcohol. These are not my facts, these are their facts. I can get that compelling argument, but that's not why I don't drink alcohol. And I don't not drink alcohol because I don't like the way it tastes. I imagine it tastes pretty good. You know what I mean? I'm saying I don't know. But I drank that when I was a little, a teenager. I know what it tastes like. But I don't not drink because it don't taste good. I don't drink it for one reason and one reason only. Why? You see, one day I was at a program, and at the end of the program, 3 sisters came to me, 3 young sisters, and they weren't covered with hijab. They said, Imam Siraj, we want to know from you, where in the Quran do we see that Muslim women have to cover? Don't give me hadith, they said. But you give me Quran, and you give me Quran to show why a Muslim woman should cover. Now, I could have given the ayah from the Quran, but instead Allah inspired me to ask this question. I said, sisters, the 3 of you, do you make salah? They said, well, not really. So you don't make salah? No. I said, do you find in the Quran that you should make salah? They said, yes, plenty of places. I said, if you find in the Quran that you should make salah, yet you're not making salah, what makes you think if I show you one verse from the Quran that you should cover, that you're going to stop covering? You see, the problem isn't covering. The problem is Iman. Solve the problem of Iman and they'll cover. Don't badger them. You gotta cover, you don't go to hellfire, you gotta put on your hijab, you gotta put on jilbab, you gotta put in your niqab, you gotta. And they're not going to do it because you badger them. But they will do it if Iman is in their heart. Because when Imam is in your heart, whatever Allah says do, you're going to do. That's the key. This is why we don't have to have no big argument, a big demonstration about homosexuality. That ain't the issue. Because not only are you not allowed to commit, convolute homosexuality, you're not allowed to commit fornication or adultery. And we got all of that in this nation, all of that. We got 1,000 things wrong, so what you will be doing is you be going to one battle after the other. It'll be the battle of homosexuality one day, and then it'll be the battle of I don't know what I'm trying to say. Sexism, drugism, and all of that stuff you will be doing. And you go to one battle after the other, and Allah didn't do that. His da'i, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he dealt with the root of the problem. Ever had a headache? Ever had a headache? What you do? doing? What you doing? Take aspirin. But aspirin is a lie. And aspirin is a lie. Why? Because aspirins never solve the problem. Aspirins get rid of a symptom. But the symptom isn't the problem. The symptom is an indication of the real problem. So when you take an aspirin, what the aspirin does, it goes to the area of the pain and it deadens the nerve. It deadens the nerve so that you don't feel the headache. But the thing that caused the headache is still there. Because if you don't solve the problem, the root of the problem, then when the aspirin wears off, then the problem's going to come back. And it's going to keep coming back. And it's going to keep coming back. I'm sitting as a fireman in the firehouse. And there's a fire. So there's an alarm. Ring, 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 ring. There's a fire. Ring. You're in the firehouse. You're a fireman. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to go put out the fire, right? So you hear the alarm, the ring, and you take a knife and you cut the wire. And you can't hear the ring anymore. It's Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allah, God help those people in the fire. Because you mistakenly think that the alarm is the problem. The alarm isn't the problem. The alarm is telling you that there is a problem. So the wise person, they don't go to the symptom, they go to the root. And the master Da'i, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, went to the roots. What's the root? The root is Tawheed. The root is the oneness of Allah. This is why I told Muhammad, the Da'i, I'm sending you to give da'wah. That the first thing you do, invite them to the oneness of Allah. Solve that problem, and you solve all the other problems. You see? You don't have to tell me why I should stop drinking alcohol. Allah said it, khalas. Allah said it. Do we need more? We need more? Of course not. We said, what about the non-Muslim? What are we going to tell them? Tell them exactly what I said. And listen. The big argument that we need to solve is God. Now, we in America, maybe I can't get da'wah in India among Hindu. Maybe I can't go to China and give da'wah to the communist Chinese. But I'm in America. And you know what? I know how to give da'wah to America. My greatest day, my opinion as a da'i, took place in April 2007. It was the day before Passover, 2 days before Good Friday, a few days before Easter. I was invited to give a lecture at Texas State University, near Austin, Texas. Topic: Jesus from an Islamic perspective. Big auditorium. Every seat was taken. People were lined up in the aisles seated. People were on the stage with me sitting down because there was no room. People in the hallway trying to get in to hear this lecture in the Bible Belt about Jesus and from an Islamic perspective. Before the lecture began, one of the professors came to me and said, Imam Siraj, I want to give you a heads up. Many of these students have to leave early. They have some program they have to attend or something. So if during the speech they get up and they go, I don't want you to be offended to think that it's against you, but they have to go. I said, no problem. Well, let me tell you what happened. I gave a lecture. Not one person left. Not one. And when it was over, I said, we're going to have to excuse ourselves for 5 minutes. We have to make prayer. And I know some of you have to leave. And we went and made prayer and came back, and they were all there. There was one young man there, I'll never forget. After the lecture, he came to me asking me questions. He was one of the leaders of the Christian group there on campus. And I could tell by his questions how much interested he was into what I was saying. About 2 months later, I got a letter from this young man's mother. She said, my name is so-and-so and so-and-so. I want to let you know about my son. I found your card in his wallet. And I want to let you know you made a profound effect on him because he talked about you after he came home. And he was really impressed. And she said, I want to let you know that my son died in an automobile accident. And I wanted to let you know, I thought you should know. 2 sons were in the accident, but my youngest son, he's okay. But he died. And I said to myself, you know what? Allah knows best what happened to that young man's heart and what he heard. And let me tell you what he heard in my conclusion. Brothers and sisters, we as Muslims and given da'wah is always trying to get past someone to beat them down, as Brother Quran Murad said. And the more we know about Islam, the more we know of the unbelievable similarities in many instances between Islam and especially the people of the book. Most of our da'wah in this country will be to the people of the book. How we do it. How I did it that day. You know how I did it that day? I showed them unbelievable things that Islam says about Jesus from an Islamic perspective. They expect us to come and fight them and say, no, Jesus is not God. Jesus is not the Son of God. He isn't. But what are we going to tell them? How we begin the discussion? One morning on my way to Fajr prayer in New York City. And I have a hobby. You know what my hobby is? My hobby is reading bumper stickers. Love bumper stickers. You don't read bumper stickers? I love it. So it ain't no hobby, right? But there's a farm in front of me with a bumper sticker. So I'm looking at the bumper sticker, right? And it said, Jesus is Lord. Isa huwa Rabb. Jesus is the Lord. Okay. I'm driving down Fulton Street. In Fulton Street and Crosser Avenue is a church. And on top of the church is a huge sign, Jesus is Lord. Isa huwa Rabb. I'm driving in Atlanta. And I'm going down the highway. I behold a billboard, Jesus is Lord. I'm saying to myself and speaking to all of these Christians, how do I give them a message true to Islam and not chase them away? The first thing I said, brothers and sisters, today I don't come to argue with you. Today I come to speak about Jesus from an Islamic perspective. You have your perspective of Jesus, we have another perspective. Let me share with you what Islam says about Jesus. And you know what I started doing? I started saying how Muslims believe that Jesus was born without the agency of a father, that Mary was his mother. He was born immaculate conception. That Jesus, and I asked the Muslims in the audience, how many Muslims believe that Jesus raised the dead? By Allah's permission, all the Muslims raised their hand. I said, how many Muslims believe that Jesus killed those with leprosy? The Muslims, they raised their hand. I said, how many Muslims believe that Jesus killed those born blind? And the Muslims, they raised their hand. I said, how many Muslims believe that Jesus will come back in the end of time? And the Muslims, they raised their hand. And then I said, you know what? And we got some miracles that we don't even know about, that's not even mentioned in the Bible. I said, how many Muslims believe that Jesus spoke from the cradle? And the Muslims, they raised their hand. And then I asked the audience, the Muslim audience, I said, according to Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, every human being that was born was touched by Satan at birth, except 2 people. And the Muslims answered, Jesus is the prophet. Jesus is the prophet. Jesus is the prophet. Muhammad. Adam. There were 2 people that the prophet said, and Al-Bukhari, Sahih, Jesus and his mother Mary. I said to the Muslims in the audience that a Jew and a Muslim was arguing, and the Muslim slapped the Jew. And the Jew came and complained to the Prophet, and the Prophet asked the Muslim, why did you do it? He said, because we were arguing, and the Jew said, by him who gave superiority of Moses over all the prophets. And so I hit him. And the Prophet became angry, and he said that on the day of judgment, that everyone would be unconscious. And I would be the first one to wake up. And I would see Moses already awoke, holding the throne of God. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, I told the audience, the first one to get dressed on the day of resurrection, all of us are going to be naked. And the first one to be dressed would be Prophet Abraham. You see what I'm doing? There are so many things. You don't have to be afraid to say what the Prophet said. And then finally, I leave with this. Is Islam a tolerant religion? Is it tolerant? Oh, this is what you say here. Why you say it's tolerant? Mikael, why you say it's tolerant? But wait a minute, man. Someone have a Quran? I want you to read the 3rd chapter, verse 85 for me. Anybody have a Quran? Chapter 385. See how tolerant Islam is. Give him that mic. Listen carefully. Preferably Arabic and English. Listen carefully. Give him the mic. Is the mic on?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ومن يبتغي غير الإسلام دينا
Whoever searches a religion other than Islam,
دينا فلن يقبل منه وهو
it would not be accepted from him.
وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين.
And he will be in the hereafter among the losers. Read it in English. Listen carefully.
If anyone desires a religion other than Islam, never will it be accepted of him, and in the hereafter he will be in the ranks of all those who are lost.
Sounds tolerant to you? Or dogmatic? Be honest. What does it sound like? Does it sound tolerant or intolerant? Does it sound dogmatic? No? Why not? Why not? Whoever seeks a religion other than Islam, it won't be accepted. Come on, man. Come on, man. Yes.
I mean, just like some.
Again?
If you're non-Muslim, of course it sounds dogmatic. But if you're Muslim, you know what the Quran means.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Get the mic. Just take the mic.
I was going to say that just because it doesn't mean we are tolerant of others, we have to respect other people's practice, we have to treat others with tolerance, but that doesn't mean that you tolerate aqidah in the same way. Like Allah will tolerate someone else's belief. Like we may be tolerant of other people's practices, and you have to respect everyone else's faith. But as far as tolerating people that say that, oh, you believe in many gods and you're going to go to heaven, and we can't say that. There's limits to that tolerance. So I guess that's the limit right there. It's being stated in the Quran as far as aqidah.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Say that again? Give her mic. I think she got something. I think you got it.
He said in the ayah, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا. He did not say whoever not going to follow Prophet Muhammad. So, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا, all the other prophets.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Man! Beautiful! Yo, man! Don't let anyone take any verse out of context. Behold, read the verse right before it. Look and smile. Right before. Check this out.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل آمنا بالله وما أنزل علينا وما أنزل على إبراهيم.
We believe in what was revealed to us and what was revealed to Abraham and Ismail and Ishaq and Job. Jacob and tribes. Isa, Jesus, Moses. You get it? It's a context of what we're talking about. In our language, all the prophets have the same religion. Our context. So what are we saying? We're saying what the Prophet said. He said, الأنبياء إخوة لآلات أمهاتهم شتى ودينهم واحد. دينهم واحد. دينهم واحد. The prophets, all of them are brothers. Their mothers are different, but the religion is the same. Religion is the same. So the context of this verse ain't talking against the other prophets. They're all linked together. And whoever don't follow these prophets is not going to be accepted to you. See? You were right. Another sister mentioned, some of the sister mentioned about the deen of all the prophets. One of the sisters said is really the same. One. Right? We good? We good? What? What? There's something in your eyes, man. What? There's nothing in your eyes? Any question? Yes, ma'am.
But if you follow the prophets,
Of course. Of course. I said to the people at the university, by the way, one of the officials of the school, I don't know whether he's president or vice president, he came to me and he said, you know what? Everyone in this university should have heard you. That day was so full of the Spirit of Allah. I said, our Prophet said, أرجو أن تكونوا نصف أهل الجنة. He said to his companions, I hope that you would be 1/2 of the people of paradise. What's the implication? What's the question? Who the other half? The other half are the true followers of those prophets who lived at that time. And now we have the last prophet, Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, and you have to know about this man. Yes,
Yes, I have a question because I was thinking like, okay, from my understanding of the verse, I'm thinking, okay, clear polytheists would follow the people that like didn't, wouldn't follow that umbrella of people, like clear polytheists. I don't know, but I can't think one right now. But among the Christians and the Jews today, who like they don't have the same, they're not following as the prophet told them to follow whoever, their prophet at their time, whether it was Musa or Isa, but whether it was Musa or Isa, that those teachings, they're not following them exactly. Like Allah calls them still Ahl al-Kitab, and are those still Ahl al-Kitab today? Even they, right, because they're still Ahl al-Kitab. But they're not following the same way as they were in the context of, like the Quran, like, you know what I mean? Like the people that were mentioned, the Jews that were mentioned in the Quran, they were following Musa. The Christians mentioned in the Quran, they were following Isa, like, with the correct understanding, like, of only one God, or,
One of the beautiful things about, Allah mentions about the Quran, and He mentions about Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, is مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ. The Quran, the beautiful thing about the Quran, it is a musaddiq. It verifies the scripture that came before it. And the beautiful thing about the Quran and about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that they bring the people back to the purity of their prophets. We believe that the Prophet is bringing them not a new religion, but the same religion basically as Jesus and Moses and Abraham. So this is the message that we have to convey to the people. Someone get this ayah from Quran, I think it's this surah. Let's see if I can find it here.
Like the reason that I mention it is because like when I try to talk to my mom, like I can't tell her, oh yeah, but you're like Ahl. I said that like when I talk to that when I okay. But when I talk to my mom, I can't tell her like, oh yeah, like you're from Ahl Kitab, so like you're saved, and because there's a verse in the Quran that mentions the people who, about Ahl Kitab and being among the people in Jannah. Like I can't tell her that.
No. I don't expect you to tell her. I don't expect you to tell anything other than give her the truth. You see, brothers and sisters, that was a process. I was in the United Kingdom. I gave a lecture. A young woman there, she took Shahada. And after the lecture, we had gone to another program, and she came and they served dinner. Now I had given her Shahada, alhamdulillah, she accepted Islam. And I remember, I'll never forget this day, years ago, some sisters came to her and began to tell her what she can do, what she can't do. You gotta do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. She started crying and said, I don't want to be a Muslim anymore. It's too much. The da'wah is a process. You don't have to come and give everything at one time, all the time. Give them the foundation, build upon the foundation, and then it becomes easier and easier and easier. Start with one concept, and we build on that concept. That's the point I'm saying to you, sister. You know, I'm not suggesting that you don't tell her the truth. Of course tell her the truth. But where do you start? Allah mentioned in the Quran in a way that we would call it common ground. Ilahuna wa ilahukum wahid. Your God and our God is one. We believe in what was revealed to you, to us, and we believe what was revealed to you. Common ground. Right? Surely there's been some changes. Of course, we're going to talk about that later on. But it begins to have some conversation with people and giving them the foundation first of what we believe before we go on all of the minutiae and stuff, a lot of stuff. Yes, yeah. Can you give me the mic?
One of the brothers was asking, what do you do in a situation where, for example, you're told that men mistreat women because women are put in the back of the masjid whereas men are put in the front? How would you deal with something like that without being apologetic?
Yeah. Brothers and sisters, you know what? It's a good question. It's a fair question. You know, when people who are not privy to your teachings and your workings, they have a lot of criticism. They criticize everything. Why? You got the women in the back. The first thing we say, I want to let you know that our messenger, when he, established the prayer, this is the way God told him to do it. Men in the front, women in the back. Muslim women are very modest. No modest woman wants to pray in front of a man. There are different positions in prayer. And one of the positions is bowing. And no Muslim woman wants to bow in front of a man. True. Am I right? Am I right? So, Allah, God's wisdom is He lines up the people what's most appropriate. And the thing that's most appropriate is the man behind the woman. Now, why not have the woman on side of the man? Now, let's see if I can remember. Sisters, can I ask the brothers a question? Can you hear me? Brothers, I want to ask you a question. And I want you not to worry about the women because they can't hear us. Okay? They ain't even listening to us. Right? How many men like and are attracted to women? Raise your hand. Brothers, he said, My wife is looking, what's she going to say? Now, any brother who didn't raise his hand, see me later, you got to talk. It's natural. It's naturally attracted to women. Remember when you were young? You used to see a girl, you said, girl, remember? Huh? Yeah. But you ain't saying that no more. You say, Because it's Allah created you that way. He created you to be attracted to a woman. Now, brother, let's be real about it. You make one salah. And there's a woman sitting next to you. Come on, man. Come on, brother. Lord. I mean, come on, man. Come on. The rest of us, we can't, the Sheikh, he'd be the only one. I mean, mashallah. I can't say no. But it's common sense. It's common sense. It's not to put down on the woman, it's to respect that we have for her, that Allah has for her. Now, that's what I want to make for this week come to an end. And maybe I have questions and answers. We're going to break. What time do we break for Salah? 5:30. Okay. One more point for you folks and then we'll finish. We have enough today, right? You guys are ready to go home. The last point I want to make is to remember when giving da'wah, honor the people you give da'wah to. Because according to the Quran, لَقَدْ قَرَرْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ, we have honored the children of Adam. You see, brothers and sisters, your da'wah is as much a trial for you as it is for them. How do you want to act? Will you be patient? The prophets, they had to be patient. You don't want to cuss them out. You want to guide the heart to being understood. So you have to be patient. But there are some rules of engagement. And you know the rules of engagement is? That a da'i must never, ever, ever force people against their will. It's against the da'wah. La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in religion. And Allah, He revealed to His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لو شاء ربك لآمن من في الأرض كلهم جميعا أفأنت تكره الناس حتى يكونوا مؤمنين. He said that if Allah had willed, He could have made everybody on the earth believe. Your mother, your father, your cousins, your uncles, your school teachers, your friends, Oprah, Obama, Lady Gaga, oh yeah, Bush. He could have made them believe. So what? He's honored them and given them the opportunity of their own free will. And you got to be able to argue with them in the best way to convince them so that, inshallah, maybe they see the light and they accept the truth. But it can never be by force.
Just mentioned about commonality between religions, that's something to be brought up. What did they say? If there's so much commonality and similarity, why don't you change? Why do we?
That's a good question. It's a fair question. You know what the answer is? That there's so much things that's common. Why don't you change? Because this is the last revelation. And it has to make sure that it corrects the mistakes, not of the prophets, but the mistakes that the people added after the prophet left. It's no coincidence. What language does Allah send the prophets speaking? Language of their people. Lisan Qawmi. The language of their people, so they can understand. But this last messenger is different. What language does he speak? He speaks Arabic. How many of you know some Arabic? Raise your hand. So for the first time in human history, the last prophet, the people learned to speak his language. So millions of people have learned the Quran in the Arabic language. Hadith, learning Arabic. Alhamdulillah. So brothers and sisters, we finish. I pray Allah to Allah that we just gave you some food for thought. I don't think we did anything more than that. And to put at least in your heart a desire to talk to people, to communicate with people. We're not going to know and win every argument, perhaps. And there's no magic formula. Say this and people will be convinced about Islam. There's none. There's none. You'll never find it. The only thing you can do is do the best that you can. Invite people, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help and mercy. And then leave it in the hands of Allah. You will see young people, 5 years old, will give shahada. You will find old people giving shahada. There's one woman named Carrie, I never forget. A sister named Rashida Abdul-Rahim in my community. She moved from Brooklyn to a place called Trenton, New Jersey. She called me one day and she said, Imam Siraj, I got good news for you. I said, oh, Rashida, you got married? She said, no, but I wanted you to know that my mother took shahada. My mother, 95 years old, she took shahada. Why did she take shahada? Because 3 years ago, before that, Rashida decided to bring her mother to live with her so that she can take care of her mother. And as she was taking care of her mother would watch her. And she didn't ask, Rashida didn't ask her mom, said, Mom, you want to take shahada? Her mother came to her and said, I want to be Muslim. I went to go see her. She lived a year before she died. I did janazah for her in Trenton. And she was in the hospital. I went to go visit her. But she saw her daughter sacrificing her life for her mother. And she took shahada. This happened about 10 years ago. And then, because she put her life on hold, I called Rashida one day. She said, Rashida? I said, yeah, man. I have a brother I want to introduce you to. Took them to dinner. Introduced them to each other. And they're still together now. They got married. So happy. She has a permanent smile on her face. Any brothers here want to get married? I'll hook you up, man. Seriously. I know some folks. Seriously. You gotta get married, man. I know a brother, man. I know a brother, man. For 60 years and never been married. I said, brother, you alright? You don't like women? He said, yeah. I said, well, let's get like that. No. And I find brothers, not being married, being here a long time, not being married, I come after you. Seriously, I get you married. I'll bring a busload of sisters from New York. Sisters that don't want to marry you, I'll hook you up. So that's part of the game. That's why your brothers can't be no doubt, but you're not married. You don't know what you're doing. You're going out of your mind. Crazy. Seriously, you guys are crazy, man. You gotta get married. Get married to help you die. You guys are crazy. Yes, ma'am.
Good education from good study is also dawah.
Again?
Good education.
Youth education?
Good education from good study is also dawah.
What kind of education?
Good education.
Good education.
Good education. Oh, good education.
Good education from good study is also dawah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, question, ma'am. This is your sir? Okay. I need a volunteer. Anybody? Come. You got 3 minutes. You're in high school. You're in the basketball team. And one of the players come to you and say, you know what? I've been thinking about Islam. You got 3 minutes to say something to me. Go ahead.
Alright. Islam is a very friendly religion where they believe in one God and Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as the last messenger. And when you, we're all a very strong community. We all care for one another. We are a very peaceful religion, and we only submit to one God. And basically that we all look out for one another, and we don't do like anything to endanger ourselves or people around us. That includes like, probably drugs or violence. We try, that's like the basis, that's the foundation of our religion. And, that's what we try to promote. Although it doesn't always happen, that's like the essence of our religion.
Critique. Yes.
All right.
It's Mike in the mic.
Sorry, Assalamu alaikum. Alright, I noticed a couple of issues with that. First of all, you were repetitive. You said the same thing. You didn't sound sure of yourself, and you sounded apologetic. You said, like, Islam's a very friendly religion, we care about each other. You didn't address what Islam is, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. You didn't talk about the Injil, you didn't talk about the Torah, you didn't talk about the previous messenger. And how we accept every single messenger before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We didn't talk about...
Okay, critique. More. Critique. Yes, ma'am.
I felt like...
The mic.
When he said that thing about love one another, when we do, that's a really big issue in the Islamic community. I have a friend who's Shahada, and she dealt with she's African American, but she was with a lot of foreigners, and she had to deal with a lot of racism. So, I mean, if you tell a person is not Muslim that, and then they become Muslim and they see that, they're like, oh, wow, you lied to me. So I feel like that was a little, we should all get along, but we don't.
Okay. Yes, gotcha. Yes, critique.
It's not a critique, because I think you did a very good job.
Okay.
But you may also ask your friend at the basketball court, instead of you immediately talking to him,
yes.
You say, what are you interested in?
See, thank you. I was hoping someone would bring that point out. You see, here's a man saying, I'm interested in Islam. Oh yeah? When did that begin? What made you interested in Islam? You build off of that. One of the greatest interesting experiences I had when I went to South Africa for the first time. I came off the plane, and the brothers took me to a place to give a lecture. It was disastrous. Then the brothers, they gave me what you call, they gave me some briefing of the country. After I got the briefing from the country, my next talk was much better because I've been briefed about it. In speaking to God and giving God, when a person comes to you and says to you, I am interested in Islam, you could say something to throw them off. Find out what it is, and then build on that. Excellent point. You did a great job. I love it. You're good, man. I want one more. I want you, because this is a hard one. Yes. Yes. You, man. Come on, man. Listen, I'm about to take a plane, and I just got 3 minutes. You know what? I've been reading the Quran. I like it. I like what I read so far. I'm learning about this compassionate man, Muhammad. I've read about him. I like it. I got a little problem. I don't know how to say this, but I'm homosexual. And is there a place for homosexual Muslim in Islam? I got 3 minutes, can you help me?
We're in the plane.
Who wants to tackle it? No.
Thank you.
Hold on, let me get Imam Siraj's number.
Hey, no, let me tell you something. What he did is good. Wallahi, what he did is good. Honestly, it is a technique. They do it in the business world. Someone shows a business plan. They say, I got a question. You know what? I can't answer your question, but I got someone who can. If you give me a few minutes, give me your email address, give me your phone number, I got someone who can answer that question. Okay? That's good. I love that. I want one more person who want to handle that. Yes. Come on, man. No. No.
I have a question. Go ahead and respond.
No, this is the same thing I'm saying. I thought you would answer this one. But I want to hear something.
Assalamu alaikum. Our concern is so far 80%, 90% about non-Muslim.
No. I'm asking who else want to answer this question about homosexual. You know, no, I want somebody who wants to do it. I want somebody who wants to do it.
Of course.
No. I'm bringing you back. I'm bringing you back. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Alright, so we're asking like how we would address like a homosexual aspect of Islam.
Yes. And he's telling you that he has some interest.
So first of all, I would ask them if they believe in God in the first place, and if they love God. Because if they love God, then they wouldn't do something that God commanded them not to do. Then I'll give them Siraj's number.
Come on. Critique.
That's too harsh.
Too harsh. Yes. Want to critique? Let me critique first. Yes, in the back. Again?
There is a movement in academic Islam that talks about homosexuality and not sin. So therefore, the question of whether or not they love God doesn't imply that homosexuality.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's very good. Excellent. Very good.
I think
you can repeat that? Yeah. Come, so give him a mic. Give him a mic. Let me say it again. Show him. Okay. Try. Okay. You know what I'm saying.
So, you can hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So there's a movement in academic Islam which comments and says that homosexuality is not a sin. So the question of whether or not the person loves Allah is not rhetoric that you should use against someone that is homosexual.
Okay, good. Critique. Anyone else? Critique? Yes, ma'am.
Because yesterday it said Suhaib Web, or Sheikh Suhaib Web, he was saying that that it's not a sin to like basically like those feelings or whatever, like the action is what's the sin. So like even you could be Muslim, there are plenty of Muslims, like we can give them examples of how the scholars in Islam have dealt with like this issue before, like as long as you're praying, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, like if suppressing those feelings, if you can try your best, but like to not act on the action itself, but like the feelings are not a sin in themselves, like that's a test. Like anything else is a test, like everyone has weaknesses, you know what I mean? I don't know.
No, that's great. No, that's great. Yes, ma'am.
I think that the issue of sin is a separate than believing in one Allah.
Yes.
When a person is showing interest to know Allah, one should introduce Allah to his and worry about the sin.
Yeah, I think this is the point to me. Really, this is the issue. You see, brothers and sisters, the person is interested in Islam. You don't have to go into all of his preferences right now. I'm going to let you know that everyone has an opportunity to be Muslim and that Allah has the door open. All of us are sinners in one way or the other, and I'm going to let you know you can come and you can learn. I'm happy. Here's my card. I'm happy to correspond with you. This is my email address. I want to talk to you more. I have a lot of information to share with you. When you say that, you know what we have to learn how to do as Muslims? We have to learn how to disarm people. When I gave that lecture at the university, they were disarmed. You opened the door for them to have some further conversation. You don't have to know all the details about their homosexuality. That's my opinion. Thank you so much. We're going to stop in another couple of minutes. Any questions? We're going to close out. We're going to make salat, and that's going to be the end of the session, inshallah. Questions? Yes, sir. Yeah, it's a good question. Do we give dawah to people of different sects of Islam? I'll give you an example. My answer is yes. Who's the best people to do it? I was a minister in the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam was a group of African Americans under the leadership of Elijah Muhammad, whom they believed was the messenger of Allah. They believed that a man named Father Muhammad was God. And they didn't make salah toward Mecca. They didn't bow. I was one of them. I was a minister in the Nation of Islam. When Allah guided me to Islam, alhamdulillah, and I recognized what Islam was, I began to go back to some of those that I knew in the nation, and Allah has blessed me to help guide a number toward Islam. One person I have to give a lot of credit, his name is Imam Muhammad. When his father, Elijah Muhammad, died in 1975, he became the leader of the Nation of Islam. He changed the name, and then all of a sudden he began to introduce Islam. He said, my father wasn't the messenger, Prophet Muhammad was the last messenger of Allah. He said the Quran is the book of Allah. He said that Allah is the creator of the heavens and earth, is not a human being. He said, and this is the way we pray. And we fast in the month of Ramadan, not in December. So Imam Muhammad changed a lot of brothers' belief in that group. And Allah blessed me to give shahada to a number of their ministers in the Nation of Islam. I think that the people who have been involved in those kinds of movements whom Allah has blessed, they're the best ones, in my opinion, to go back and to try to invite them to a better understanding of Islam. You can. Don't think everybody should do it. I think that you can. Ahmed Didat, may Allah bless him, to me was one of the best people to talk to the Christians because he knew the book. He knew their religion. So he was the best at it. Some novice may not be able to do the same kind of job. But if you feel that you can, you should do it. If not, get someone else to do it, inshallah. Yes. To approach atheists. You know, there's a man, I forgot his name. He was an atheist, and he became a Christian. He didn't become a Muslim. He didn't become a Christian. He became a believing person in God, and he never believed in God before. And ironically, he said he learned to believe in God based upon his study of science, and it led him to the belief of God. I don't spend a whole lot of time with atheists, other than to explain to them that this is the creed, where did we come from, what's the purpose of life, what happens when we leave. Answer those questions. If they think it's nothing, okay, fine, your way be yours and mine be mine. I don't know what to say other than to invite them to look at the beauty of the creation and the magnificence of the creation, and to say there must be a creator behind it. I'll give you one idea, something we used to say to the atheists. If you look at a plane, P-L-A-N-E, a big plane, when it takes off with 500 passengers and they go in the air, and while they're flying, they're serving food and water on the plane. And they go at 500 miles per hour. And if someone said to you, where the plane come from, you say, somebody made it, someone built it. Let's look at another plane called Planet. Let's just put a T on it. B-L-A-N-T. Here's a plane called Planet. It's traveling at 1,037, 130 miles per hour right now. Can you feel it? It don't only carry its food, it grows its own food. And it has its water. And it travels through space surrounded by oxygen. And you tell me which is superior, the planet or the plane? The planet. Yet who made the plane? A man. Who made the planet? You mean to tell me that's an accident, but you won't say the plane is an accident? No, the planet is superior. And I'm saying the one who created that plane is so far superior than us. We call him God, the Lord of the worlds. Did we see him? No. But we believe in him. Like all the prophets that came in the past, we believe in him. Hey, you have the right to reject him. That's okay. I can't force you. Yes.
I'd like to know what you think about, so I guess like if you're like, I guess say somebody on the campus or on the workplace or something like that, you're dealing with someone, like you're trying to, I guess, be an example or give dawah to people in a particular setting. You have one of those Muslims that are not, you know, that's not such a great example, say certain things about Islam that's not true. Oh, we can do this, we can do that, and they sort of, you know, like backtrack at all of what you're trying to do. How would you approach that without, you know, obviously with like the best at that, you know, obviously you don't want to seem like you're bickering, that's bad doubt. So, oh, so-and-so don't listen to him, he's just crazy, you know, like, what's the...
You know, brothers, this is the question in general. Sometimes you're talking to people and maybe you're trying to explain Islam, and then you have another Muslim who may not be the same example. Maybe he doesn't do the same kinds of things. Let's say that we're about to pray, and a group of Muslims go pray, and there's some Muslims there, men, who are not praying. And what appears to be like a bad example in front of non-Muslims, you don't want to necessarily argue in front of non-Muslims, what are you doing? This is their question. You know, and you know, I would say that I have the obligation, according to my knowledge, to share with you whatever I know. And I think that this is what I know to be the best. Everyone is not the same. Some people, religious people, maybe they get an A. Some people, they get a B. Some people get a C. And God is the judge of all of us, what we get. But I want to say to you that this is the way that I understand our religion to be, that we should pray. There was a brother named, years ago, I think Siraj or something like that. He ran for political office in New York City. And he ran for Congress. And he lost. He was a very nominal Muslim. You know what I mean by nominal Muslim? I give you an example of a nominal Muslim. Remind me to come back to this in 1 second. Give you a nominal Muslim. I went to a brother's house years ago, a Muslim brother, because he had a meeting in his house in a place called Broccoli Park. And he was known to us. But I went to his house, and I went a little bit early because I wanted to make salah. So I went into his house and I said, okay, which way is the Qibla? He said, huh? I said, the Qibla. You know the place where we pray. And I said, well, I'll figure it out. Going back to this brother, here,
He himself said, Imam, I'm a nominal Muslim. He said, but he went to Hajj. And when he came back from the pilgrimage, he was a different person. You know what he told me? He said, Imam, I was the kind of Muslim, if you say pray 5 times a day, I call you fanatic. So there are people with various degrees of understanding and practice of Islam. It's okay, no problem. But whoever you're trying to teach, you say, you know what? This is the best that I can teach you and share with you without you browbeating the brother and beating the brother down. And I think just do that. You know, in the end, brothers and sisters, I keep saying there's no magic formula to da'wah. إِنَّكَ لَا تَحْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. You cannot guide to whom you love. You can't guide to the truth to whom you love. But Allah guides to the straight path, whomever He wills. That's the issue. And you try, and if you get opposition and they don't become a Muslim, it's the qadr of Allah. If you get opposition and they become Muslim, it's the qadr of Allah. Because in the end, it's not us who make Muslims. No one can believe except by the permission of Allah. Thank you so much. You were so unbelievably patient. And may Allah reward you for spending this time with me today. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.